The clinking of cutlery, soft jazz music, and the faint aroma of roasted coffee filled the elegant rooftop cafe as Maya sat nervously at a corner table, glancing at the time for the third time in 5 minutes. Her palms were slightly damp, her heart beating faster than usual, not because of the man she was about to meet, but because of the small boy sitting beside her, quietly sipping orange juice through a straw. His big brown eyes darted around the cafe with childlike wonder, unaware of the anxiety twisting his mother's heart. If you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Light. Let's spread stories that heal hearts. Maya had been a single mother for nearly 6 years. Life hadn't been kind. Her husband had left before their son, Arlo, was even 2, vanishing without a trace, leaving her to face unpaid bills and endless nights of tears. She worked 2 jobs, one at a bakery in the mornings and another as a receptionist in the evenings. Her dreams of love had long faded, replaced by routine, fatigue, and her son's laughter, the only thing that kept her going. But today was different. Her best friend had set her up on a blind date with a man named Ethan Grant. Maya had almost refused at first, saying she had no time for such things. But her friend had insisted that Ethan wasn't just any man. He was kind, grounded, and successful, a CEO who had built his company from scratch but never lost touch with his humanity. Maya had agreed hesitantly, arranging for a babysitter. But fate had other plans. The babysitter called in sick just an hour before. She had 2 choices: cancel the date and risk looking rude, or go. With Arlo, she took a deep breath and chose the latter. When Ethan arrived, the room seemed to shift slightly. Dressed in a crisp white shirt and a soft gray coat, his confident yet gentle presence turned a few heads. He spotted Maya immediately, her nervous smile, her trembling fingers, and the small boy at her side. For a moment, Maya feared she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. He'd probably frown, feel awkward, maybe even leave. What man would want to spend his afternoon on a date with a woman and her child? But Ethan did something she didn't expect. He smiled, warmly, genuinely, and walked toward them. "Hi, you must be Maya," he said, his voice calm, deep, carrying a softness that didn't match his powerful title. Then he bent down slightly, meeting Arlo's curious eyes. "And who's this gentleman?" Arlo blinked, unsure how to respond. Maya quickly spoke, her voice low, embarrassed. "I'm so sorry, Ethan. I know this is unusual. My babysitter canceled last minute, and I didn't want to stand you up, so I brought my son along. I completely understand if—" Ethan raised a hand gently, cutting her apology short. "Maya," he said with a faint smile, "you don't ever have to apologize for being a mother." Something inside her cracked at those words. So few people had ever said them, so few had ever understood. As the lunch went on, Ethan surprised her again and again. He didn't just talk about himself. He asked about her work, her challenges, what she loved to do when she wasn't working 2 jobs. And every now and then he included Arlo, asking him about his favorite cartoons, his favorite ice cream flavor, even letting the little boy stir his coffee just for fun. By the time dessert came, Maya wasn't nervous anymore. She was laughing, really laughing, for the first time in months. Arlo, meanwhile, was giggling over a chocolate sundae Ethan had ordered just for him. But the most touching moment came when the waiter brought the bill. Maya reached for her purse, fumbling. "Please let me pay my part," she said quickly. "I insist." Ethan shook his head. "Maya, I invited you, and besides," he said with a playful glint in his eyes, "your son here finished most of my dessert. I think I owe him at least that much." She laughed again, her cheeks flushing. "You really don't have to." Ethan leaned forward, his expression soft but serious. "I want to." That simple statement carried weight, one she felt deep in her chest. When they stepped out of the cafe, the late afternoon sun bathed the city in gold. Arlo was holding Ethan's hand now, chatting about how he wanted to be a builder of big things when he grew up. Ethan listened, nodding with genuine interest, as if the little boy's dreams mattered just as much as any business deal. At the corner of the street, Maya turned to him, unsure what to say. "Thank you," she whispered, "for today, and for not judging me." Ethan looked at her, the sunlight catching in his gray eyes. "Maya," he said softly, "you don't need to thank me for being where I was supposed to be." Her heart skipped. There was something in the way he said it, as if he wasn't just talking about the afternoon, but about fate itself. Days turned into weeks. They kept meeting, sometimes at parks, sometimes at small diners where Arlo could join them. Ethan brought small gifts, not expensive ones, but thoughtful ones. A book for Arlo about inventors, a little bouquet for Meyer after a hard week. He never overstepped, never tried to replace anyone. He just showed up. One Sunday morning, months later, Ethan invited them both to an event, his company's charity brunch. Maya was nervous, surrounded by people in suits and designer dresses, but Ethan never left her side. When someone asked who she was, he smiled proudly and said, "This is Maya, and this little one is Arlo, two of the strongest people I've ever met." The room fell silent for a moment. A few eyes turned soft, a few smiles appeared. But the most emotional part came when Ethan took the stage to speak. He began talking about his company's journey, but midway his tone shifted. He said, "Success means nothing if you can't share it with people who remind you what kindness and resilience look like. A few months ago, I met someone who reminded me of that, someone who didn't give up, even when life tried to break her." His eyes found Maya's in the crowd. "And she brought her son along, the bravest little boy I've ever met." Maya's eyes blurred with tears. Arlo clapped, not fully understanding why his mom was crying, only that Ethan was smiling at them both. That day, everyone in the hall felt something shift. It wasn't about wealth or titles, it was about heart. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Soul of Light. Help us spread love and hope, one story at a time. And before you go, comment below. Do you believe love can find you when you least expect it? Because sometimes a blind date isn't about finding romance, it's about finding the kind of kindness that changes everything. The end.